Question: when there is water on the roadway, you must reduce your speed to avoid? Option number 1, overheating of tires. Option number 2, wear and tear. Option number 3, hydroplaning. Option number 4, traction of the tires on the road. The answer is option number 3, hydroplaning. Note: when there is water on the roadway, reduce your speed. Under such conditions, high speeds can cause your vehicle to hydroplane out of control. Question: if a truck is trying to pass you, you can help the truck driver by? Option number 1, keeping to the far side of your lane and reducing your speed slightly. Option number 2, increasing your speed. Option number 3, reducing your speed and driving in a no zone. Option number 4, keeping to the near side of your lane and reducing your speed slightly. The answer is option number 1, keeping to the far side of your lane and reducing your speed slightly. Note: trucks have limitations in terms of maneuverability, stopping distance, and blind spots. The bigger the trucks are, the bigger their blind spots. The more room they need to maneuver. The longer it takes them to stop. The longer it takes them to pass. Question: when there is a solid yellow center line on your side of the road, you must? Option number 1, change lanes. Option number 2, not use the opposing lane to pass. Option number 3, stop. Option number 4, not increase your speed. The answer is option number 2, not use the opposing lane to pass. Note: solid yellow lines indicate that passing is prohibited. When there is a solid yellow line next to your lane, you may not cross the line to pass or change lanes. Question: which of the following are two types of speed signs? Option number 1, speed limit signs and accident speed signs. Option number 2, advisory speed signs and informational speed signs. Option number 3, accident speed signs and advisory speed signs. Option number 4, speed limit signs and advisory speed signs. The answer is option number 4, speed limit signs and advisory speed signs. Question: if you approach a vehicle with a triangular orange sign on its rear, what should you do? Option number 1, pass the vehicle quickly. Option number 2, follow the vehicle closely. Option number 3, slow down and proceed with caution. Option number 4, increase your speed. The answer is option number 3, slow down and proceed with caution. Note: the slow-moving vehicle sign indicates that special care must be taken when sharing the road with such a vehicle. Extra patience and caution must be exercised when passing slow-moving vehicles. Question: in Ohio, when are you allowed to pass on the right? Option number 1, if the vehicle is trying to change lanes. Option number 2, if the vehicle is making or about to make a right turn. Option number 3, if the vehicle is making or about to make a left turn. Option number 4, in none of the above situations. The answer is option number 3, if the vehicle is making or about to make a left turn. Note: a vehicle may pass on the right only under the following conditions. Number 1, when the vehicle being overtaken is about to make a left turn. Number 2, when the pavement is wide enough for 2 or more lines of traffic moving in the same direction as the overtaking vehicle. Question: what does this sign mean? Option number 1, the right lane ends ahead. Option number 2, you are approaching railroad tracks. Option number 3, there is a narrow bridge ahead. Option number 4, the left lane ends ahead. The answer is option number 1, the right lane ends ahead. Note, this warning sign indicates that the right lane ends ahead. All traffic in the right lane must merge left. Question: a pedestrian using a white cane or a white cane tipped with red is usually. Option number 1, a schoolchild. Option number 2, blind. Option number 3, a crew person. Option number 4, a flag person. The answer is option number 2, blind. Note, people who are blind are the only pedestrians authorized by law to carry white canes or white canes with red tips. The law provides that the blind carrying such canes, as well as those with guide dogs, are to be given the right-of-way by every driver. Question: a vehicle's stopping distance is equal to? Option number 1, the sum of the braking distance and following distance. Option number 2, the braking distance. Option number 3, the sum of the reaction distance and following distance. Option number 4, the sum of the braking distance and reaction distance. The answer is option number 4, the sum of the braking distance and reaction distance. Note, the distance it takes to stop your vehicle depends on your reaction time, speed at which you are traveling, the condition of your brakes, and the condition of the pavement, wet, dry, icy. A driver must maintain sufficient distance between his or her vehicle and the vehicle ahead. Question: are areas around trucks or other large vehicles in which other vehicles may disappear into blind spots? Option number 1, no zones. Option number 2, blind zones. Option number 3, slow zones. Option number 4, side zones. The answer is option number 1, no zones. Note, no zones are large areas around trucks and other large vehicles in which cars may disappear into blind spots or get so close that they restrict the truck driver's ability to stop or maneuver safely. No zones greatly increase the likelihood of a crash. Question: signs with black letters or symbols on an orange background provide. Option number 1, directions, routes, and distances. Option number 2, special conditions or hazards ahead. Option number 3, specific information and directions to drivers in construction zones. Option number 4, traffic laws and regulations. The answer is option number 3, specific information and directions to drivers in construction zones. Note, warning signs in the construction series have a distinctive orange background. When motorists see an orange sign, they should be alert, reduce speed, and watch for workers and equipment on the highway. Question: you may not pass another vehicle except? Option number 1, when there is a school bus with flashing lights on the same roadway. Option number 2, on the right shoulder of the roadway. Option number 3, when you are within 100 feet of a railroad crossing. Option number 4, when there is a broken line next to your lane. The answer is option number 4, when there is a broken line next to your lane. Note, when there is a broken line, either white or yellow, next to your lane, you are allowed to pass if it is safe to do so. Question: this warning sign means? Option number 1, a winding road. Option number 2, sharp right and left turns are ahead. Option number 3, the road ahead curves to the right and then to the left. Option number 4, the road ahead curves to the right. The answer is option number 3, the road ahead curves to the right and then to the left. Note: warning signs adjacent to the roadways alert motorists to potentially hazardous conditions. Most of these signs retain their traditional yellow color, as well as their diamond shape. Question: what does this sign mean? Option number 1, clearance is limited. Option number 2, sharp curve ahead. Option number 3, state route marker. Option number 4, speed limit. The answer is option number 1, clearance is limited. Question: this sign indicates? Option number 1, paved surface ends ahead. Option number 2, proceed with caution. The vehicle closest to the bridge has the right of way. Option number 3, a reduction in the number of traffic lanes in the direction you are traveling. Option number 4, narrow street ahead. The answer is option number 2, proceed with caution. The vehicle closest to the bridge has the right of way. Question: this sign indicates? Option number 1, two-way traffic. Option number 2, obstruction ahead. Option number 3, crossroad/intersection ahead. Option number 4, one-way traffic. The answer is option number 3, crossroad or intersection ahead. Note: warning signs adjacent to the roadways alert motorists to potentially hazardous conditions. Most of these signs retain their traditional yellow color, as well as their diamond shape. Question: this sign indicates? Option number 1, handicapped parking only. Option number 2, clearance of vehicle within intersection. Option number 3, pedestrian crossing. Option number 4, crosswalk for disabled. The answer is option number 4, crosswalk for disabled. Note: a variety of symbol signs mark locations on highways where people, animals, or bicycles frequently cross the road. Question: this sign indicates? Option number 1, hospital nearby. Option number 2, wheelchair available here. Option number 3, a pedestrian crosswalk. Option number 4, handicapped parking only. The answer is option number 4, handicapped parking only. Question: this sign indicates? Option number 1, winding road. Option number 2, narrow passage. Option number 3, dead end. Option number 4, another road enters from the right. The answer is option number 4, another road enters from the right. Question: why should you reduce your speed when driving at night? Option number 1, because everyone is more alert at night. Option number 2, because there are more cars on the road. Option number 3, because your visibility is limited and you need more time to stop. Option number 4, because other drivers drive faster at night. The answer is option number 3, because your visibility is limited and you need more time to stop. Note: when driving at night, maintain a cautious, reasonable speed. By driving at a reasonable speed, you will be able to stop in the distance illuminated by your headlights. Question: driving more slowly than surrounding traffic is? Option number 1, always appropriate if other people are speeding. Option number 2, appropriate if you do not know the speed limit. Option number 3, often a hazard since other drivers may become frustrated and try to pass you. Option number 4, a good idea if the weather is bad. The answer is option number 3, often a hazard since other drivers may become frustrated and try to pass you. Question: what does the solid white line on the right edge of the road represent? Option number 1, a line you can cross to pass. Option number 2, a motorcycle lane. Option number 3, a line dividing the pedestrian area and the vehicle area. Option number 4, you should never drive across unless in an emergency. The answer is option number 4, you should never drive across unless in an emergency. Note, white lines are used as right edge lines on roadways and to delineate the separation of traffic flow in the same direction. Solid white lines are also typically used as the lane line in areas where lane changing is discouraged. Question: when driving in fog, you should use your option number 1, high beams. Option number 2, fog lights only. Option number 3, low beams. Option number 4, parking lights. The answer is option number 3, low beams. Question: if you see a solid yellow line next to a broken yellow line, this means? Option number 1, that vehicles next to the solid yellow line may pass. Option number 2, pass only when no traffic is sight. Option number 3, that vehicles may pass in all directions. Option number 4, that only vehicles next to the broken line may pass. The answer is option number 4, that only vehicles next to the broken line may pass. Note, yellow lines indicate the separation of traffic flow in opposing directions, thus, all broken lines on two-way, two-lane highways are yellow. Broken yellow lines permit passing, while solid yellow lines still indicate that passing is prohibited. Question: when entering a freeway, you should. Option number 1, drive slowly and be prepared to stop for freeway traffic. Option number 2, stop on acceleration lane, wait for an opening. Then enter the freeway rapidly. Option number 3, signal and increase your speed to merge smoothly with traffic. Option number 4, slow down and then enter the freeway at a sharp angle. The answer is option number 3, signal and increase your speed to merge smoothly with traffic. Note, always use your turn signal to let other drivers know that you are planning to pull into the stream of traffic. As you reach the end of the ramp, keep a close eye on the car ahead and use your outside mirror to help spot a likely opening. If you are moving at or near the speed of the surrounding cars, it should be simple to merge with the traffic flow. Question: motorcycles must follow the rules of the road and are considered? Option number 1, motorized wheelchair. Option number 2, bicycles. Option number 3, pedestrians. Option number 4, vehicles. The answer is option number 4, vehicles. Question: the only way to ensure you have safely checked your blind spot is to? Option number 1, turn your head and look over your shoulder. Option number 2, ask the passenger. Option number 3, double check your left and right outside mirrors. Option number 4, use rear view mirror. The answer is option number 1, turn your head and look over your shoulder. Question: when you are required to yield to an emergency vehicle? Option number 1, only if other cars yield. Option number 2, never. Option number 3, if you are not on a multi-lane highway. Option number 4, always. The answer is option number 4, always. Note, upon the approach of an emergency vehicle displaying flashing lights and an audible signal, the driver must immediately drive to a position parallel to the right edge or curb of the road or highway and stop. Drivers must be careful not to block intersections. All vehicles must remain in this position until the emergency vehicle has passed, or when directed otherwise by a law enforcement officer. Question: what is intersection? Option number 1, any place where one line of traffic meets another. Option number 2, the space between the driver and rear seat passengers. Option number 3, two or more streets that meet each other and are controlled by stop signs. Option number 4, two streets meet each other and are controlled by traffic lights. The answer is option number 1, any place where one line of traffic meets another. Question: what does this sign represent? Option number 1, right lane ends. Option number 2, added lane. Option number 3, divided highway. Option number 4, merging traffic. The answer is option number 4, merging traffic.